Hey everyone, welcome back. So today my video is going to be kind of wrapping up the series that I've been having about new ways to do therapy, which is challenging the cognitive distortions and the self-defeating beliefs and getting your needs met, and then in order to remove some anxiety and stress, depression, and then the idea that it's not just removing depression, anxiety, loneliness, fear, anger, stress that results in happiness and optimism and positivity. It's the addition of those things. And so in the last two videos, I taught how to reduce the unhealthy negative emotions in the first video, and then how to add the more positive optimism and happiness and positivity, and developing resilience. Today, I'm going to talk about some techniques that act as an adjunct to that. So these are things like hypnotherapy, EMDR, tapping, biofeedback, NLP. There's a few additional techniques that I use. So the first is hypnotherapy, and I use cognitive hypnotherapy. And basically, this is getting at the issue at the subconscious level. And I differentiate between the subconscious and the unconscious. The subconscious is where you're aware. You know, when you're doing hypnotherapy, you just kind of relax. You close your eyes, you breathe, you just kind of maybe imagine yourself on a beach somewhere, and you're just a little bit more relaxed. And so your mind, your unconscious and subconscious mind, is more receptive to hearing things. But you're aware. You know, you're not sleeping, so you're not completely unconscious. Your mind may drift, but that's why I call it subconscious. So it kind of gets around the conscious mind that might be resistant to these ideas. That's hypnotherapy, and so it's just getting it a little bit around the mind's defenses. And the cognitive piece is just the embedded commands. The hypnotic commands are of a cognitive nature, that you'll no longer catastrophize, you can stand things, it's not awful and terrible, you can't mind read, stop labeling yourself, there's good parts. And so that's what you will take in, because you're trying to change your thoughts to get rid of irrational, distorted thoughts and replace them with more rational, positive thoughts. And those are the embedded commands in the cognitive hypnotherapy. So that's one way. At a deeper level, at what I consider to be the unconscious level, there's the EMDR technique and variations of that. And so EMDR is, it was developed many decades ago, and it was originally to treat the trauma and PTSD, and then it was expanded to treat almost every issue you can imagine. EMDR stands for eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. The eye movement part is how it started, that you would be in a state where you move your eyes left to right to help you process information. And it was discovered that it doesn't have to be the eyes. It's any kind of bilateral stimulation. So it could be sounds alternating from ear to ear. It could be tapping. It could be even there's the handheld vibrating things that you have that kind of vibrate from left to right in your hand. Or it could be the eyes. It doesn't matter. But the idea is that you hold a negative image in your mind, and there's a lot more to it, but you hold a negative image and the negative cognitions or thoughts that you associate with that image. And then by doing some bilateral stimulation, you're desensitizing yourself to that negative image and those negative thoughts. And then you replace the negative thoughts with positive thoughts. So you still have the negative image, but you have positive coping, thoughts, realistic thoughts associated with that image. And then you do the bilateral stimulation, and now you're reprocessing the memory. So you're desensitizing the negative and you're reprocessing it with a more positive, realistic cognitions. And again, there's more to it than that. There's more of a protocol. But in general, that's what you're doing. And this is all done at an unconscious level. I mean, you start consciously thinking of certain thoughts and images, but the process that goes on is very, very much an unconscious beneath the surface. So I use the hypnosis for the subconscious, the EMDR for the unconscious, and then the regular talk therapy at the conscious level. So we're trying to hit things that get us disturbed and upset at many different levels. Then there's a few other techniques that I use. I use biofeedback occasionally, and biofeedback is just you're getting feedback from your body. So there are sensors, there's temperature modules that you hold. There's one for breathing, there's one for your pulse, there's one for sweat. It can get very elaborate. There can be a whole computer. There can be thousands and thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars. But I use a very small machine. It's a machine that does a couple of things. It can measure your pulse and your sweat and your muscle tension. It just does a couple of things. So there's temperature, like I said, temperature, sweat, muscle, and these are things that basically a person can do. If it's too elaborate, these are not things that a person can do on their own. You really need the machinery, and so I try to use very basic, down-to-earth tools that a person can then utilize on their own. And if they even purchase it, they can purchase it relatively inexpensively. But also, you're just learning about your body. So a lot of times when you're using these high-tech equipment, it's just a way to see. So for example, if you're sweating, you can see the sweat on a monitor. If it's on a computer, you can see it on a computer. If it's on these handheld devices, you see a little, line going back and forth, and you can kind of monitor it, and then you almost will yourself to lower it, or you kind of meditate, or you breathe. So if you're having a lot of tension and it measures the tension, you see it high at the high end, and you just kind of relax, you see the tension reduce. If you're sweating, and again, you try to be calm, I'm relaxed, and then you see it reduce. Right? If your temperature, right, when you get nervous, it pulls away, you get colder, your extremities, because it's protecting your heart. And maybe you think about being warm and comfortable and safe, and then you can see the temperature rise again, and you're feeling more comfortable. So you use the tools to monitor that, but as you're doing that, you get in touch with your own body. So at some point, you don't need the tools anymore, because you can actually feel what you see on these machines. It really can be quite powerful, and it's a way of maintaining control of your own body, and it really is very empowering, and you feel that you can control your own body reaction to stress and anxiety and depression and anger and sadness. So that's the third technique. And then the fourth is NLP. And NLP is a technique. It was made famous by Tony Robbins, among others. And basically, this is using NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, and just the perceptions, your thoughts, your brain power, how you see things, and the words you use, and how you reframe things. And an example of this would be, maybe if you're in a situation that is upsetting, you pair it with something that's enjoyable. So let's say you have social anxiety and you go into a bar or a party or a place where there's a lot of people, and you're getting anxious. Well, maybe you listen to a comedy routine that you downloaded or on YouTube on your phones from your earphones, and now you're in an environment that's stress-inducing, but you're listening to comedy which makes you laugh. And the idea is you're pairing them, and maybe the laughter you'll start to associate with the party. So you'll reassociate being at a party around people with laughter and joy instead of anxiety and stress. That's just one technique. There's literally thousands of techniques that NLP uses to address some anxiety and stress and fear and phobias. And so those are a few other techniques that I use. So I just wanted to share with you some techniques. There's, of course, meditation, there's breathing, there's progressive muscle relaxation. That's when you do a body scan and you have any tension or muscle stress. You go from the top of your head to the bottom. So if you keep muscle in your forehead, you tighten your forehead muscles, and then you relax. And your shoulder muscles, you tighten, and you relax. Basically, you're fatiguing the muscle to make them just more relaxed. And you do it throughout your whole body, or those parts of your body that retain the stress. So that's another progressive muscle relaxation. You can do imagery. You're on a beach or on a mountain somewhere, lying on the grass, around the pine trees, or on the beach, lying on the sand. So those are other techniques that you can use. And then there's also a new one that some people have found to be helpful. It's called ASMR, Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. And basically this is just the certain sounds create like a tingling effect on a person. If you've ever had someone whisper in your ear, and you kind of always get those goosebumps and your hair goes on, it's not a bad sensation. It's actually can be kind of nice, just like this little tingling that you get. And what people do is they'll just whisper. They just kind of whisper like this, and they'll whisper. Or they'll make like crunchy noises with paper, or they'll have a jar of water that they go back to that, so it kind of does that glub, glub, glub of the water. And there are certain sounds that just really we find enjoyable and relaxing. And again, it creates that little tingling sensation. And there's a number of videos on that. So anyway, these are just a variety of techniques that some people have used. You may have heard of some others, like aromatherapy, like certain scents and smells can relax, or certain colors, kind of color therapy. Blue is calming and relaxing, for example, or when people have seasonal affective disorder, more of a natural light creates a better mood. So there's all sorts of adjunct techniques that can be used. So I just wanted to share some of those with you. So in addition to the getting rid of the negative emotions of depression, anxiety, stress, and then the adding on the positive emotions of positivity and optimism and happiness, there are these adjunctive therapies that can assist at multiple levels to really maximize the gains. So I hope you found this somewhat helpful, and you're getting a little bit of an overview of what my treatment and my practice and my therapy is like. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment section. If you like it, please hit like, and if you'd like to subscribe or you feel that someone could benefit from this, please share them. And I will speak to you next time. Bye-bye.